we're on the show, so we're live.
If we're live on Facebook, then we're
finally after all that struggle. It's one of those days on live stream. I don't know, buddy. I really don't know. We tried everything, and then all of a sudden it worked. So I'm a little frustrated with that, though. I mean, it seems like I have yet to have a situation occur where I can come in, get someone in the green room, hear and talk to them, and then go live. I have not had that luxury yet. So it sounds like you have.
Not in the green room. No, I can hear what people are saying, but I haven't actually talked to them. I just bring them live straight on stage, and that's it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So,
I was curious because you're supposed to be able to talk to them through the green room while you're live yourself on camera and hear them and talk to them. The audience isn't supposed to be able to hear that, but you should be able to, so that you can confirm that your guest who's coming on stage with you is truly live and visual.
Right.
So it's kind of odd that's...
Is that talking to them in the palette or bring them on screen?
Well, on the palette, that being the green room. That's really what I'm calling the green room there. So, yeah, it's just one of those situations, I guess, today. So, Stephen, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Whilst I was waiting, I published a new Skillshare course, so I'm just waiting to see whether Skillshare will accept it or not, hopefully.
Very well.
So, yeah, things are good. And with you?
We are here in Michigan. I am Leland Best, and we're hanging out at Leland Best Live over here for Across the Pond on Smile Time. I'm here in the U.S. in Michigan, just as we do it here in Michigan. I'm somewhere in the middle of the state between Lansing and Flint. And Stephen's over in the U.K. Where?
I'm in Devizes in Wiltshire, and if you think of Stonehenge and Salisbury Plain, then I'm pretty close by there. And it's a beautiful part of the world, and enjoy being here and getting out walking. And it's good for us to connect.
No, I was just going to say, Stephen, I actually built a model of Stonehenge in my architectural site design course when I was in college.
Oh, wow.
So I built it out of clay. I made all the little, it was probably to scale, I think it was 1 to 40, I believe. I forget what size it was, but I had this huge plywood board about the size of a desktop. And I built out the entire spread and had all the stones in place and everything. It was kind of cool.
Cool.
A lot of fun.
Well, it gives you an understanding. I mean, basically, how they made it is just beyond belief. I mean, the stones came from Wales by boat and overland. And we're talking about the Stone Age here. There was no...
I know.
They sort of pushed the stones along on logs. The logs were laid down, and then they pushed the stone, pick up the logs behind, put the logs in front.
It's crazy,
miles.
Isn't it?
Yep.
Oh, I've got a toot coming in. Let me see who's tooting me here. I think it's
okay.
It's the chat page on the other side. All right, they're having it says that the team of devs is working on solving this exact issue. So they hope to have it solved very soon. So it looks like this wasn't a matter of our having issues with our equipment or our internet feed. So it is a Smile Time issue that they're well aware of. So glad to hear that. It's always good to know that it's not us causing issues.
Indeed it is, because that's our first port of call. Our first port of call, if anything goes wrong when you're going live, is have I done anything wrong? Is my camera working correctly? Is my mic working correctly? Is there anything running in the background? Have I closed all the tabs? Is my phone switched off? And you go through all that.
It's crazy. All these refreshes. Every time, refresh. It's like, come on, enough already. I don't want to refresh it anymore. Yeah. So how was, our Thanksgiving went off very well, obviously. Might as well get right into it and talk about what we ended up with last week. Our daughter-in-law actually left our Thanksgiving dinner at like 8 o'clock that evening or 7 o'clock that evening it was before that, to head off to the early Black Friday sales.
Okay.
I don't know if you've seen, I'm sure you have, you're on Facebook, some of the video, and I'm not even going to play the video because it's not, but there is one I do want to play that's rather relevant to this situation, and I think it's kind of funny. I'm just going to poke it into a small window off in the side here. You should be able to see it just fine when I switch camera views here. I want to put this on here because this was one of those things that has taken such a tremendous turn over the last decade, let's say, and it's this Black Friday shopping spree thing that people are doing. Now, I'm going to show you an example, a perfect example of a wonderful Black Friday shopping, which takes place over in Canada. They call it the Door Crasher sale. And this is how it went down over there. So I'll show you this real quick. I just need to turn the audio over so you can hear this, and we'll take it from there. Here we go. I hope you can see that. Okay. You see people walking in single file. The store people are clapping like, hey, they're here to shop. This is great, wonderful experience. And the reason I don't want to show the other video is because of the simple fact that it's almost horrifying, to be honest with you. Have you seen?
Well, it's the same in the UK. It's a free-for-all, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh my God. It's not even that. It's like somebody. It's like throwing a steak out into a middle of a bunch of hungry dogs. Is really what it's like, and it's disgusting if you ask me. People getting in fights. There's people swearing at the top of their voices. They're knocking each other over to get to television sets that are $99 for 40-inch TVs or what have you. And I've never seen such chaos in my entire life when it comes to shopping. I don't spend any time out in most stores during that time period. I stay away from it.
It's like staying away from the autoroutes, the motorways at holiday time.
Oh yeah.
Unless you've got to go there, just keep clear. We've got the same situation in the UK with the Black Friday came over here, and most of the stores do it, and Friday is chaos. And
maybe we have something to learn from our Canadian cousins over there. That one way or another, we need to accept the fact that they seem to be able to pull it off just fine and not have all these. And that seems to be the case across their nation. They don't view it the same way that we do.
True. It's the Canadian approach is very ordered and very refined and very gentlemanly, and nobody's pushing and shoving, and the staff are happy to see everybody. Who knows? Will it catch on? I don't know.
Maybe one day we'll get it right. Let's hope so.
True.
So what have you got, Stephen? What's going on over in the UK?
This week I got a couple of stories, and the first one we do plan this show in advance. So the first
I got
story
some stuff for you here. Which one do you want?
Okay, the Snoopers one. Okay.
Okay, that would be the Snoopers one. Gotcha. All right, I'll disappear.
This is a sort of situation where the government passes a law while everybody's turned the other way. Now, we've been distracted by Brexit. We've been distracted by a whole host of things over the summer, and this law is going through Parliament at the moment, and it will change the way that our ISPs work. Our internet providers will be mandatorily required to keep 1 year's internet history for every single user. Now, they're not going to track the pages we visit, it's not a problem, but every single site we visit will be logged. And that data, if you scroll down, that data will be accessible by 28 different government departments.
Oh, seriously? Is that listed down here somewhere?
Yeah, I'll talk about it, but there are 28 government departments who would have access to the data. So they'd have your name, your ISP address, and the site that you visited, and they can use that big data wise to collect stats on who's doing what, and they can use it small data wise, and they can actually look at what an individual person's been doing on the internet 24/7 for a whole year. Now this is going to become law because it's too late for any protests. But we have a petition which has been signed, but to have a hearing in Parliament, but that will be after the event. So this law is going to go through, and it is an invasion of privacy as far as the majority of people are concerned, to actually track internet use. And we know that ISPs have got to keep some data, and they know where we've been. That's not a secret because we're going through their servers. It's bound to record it.
Sure.
But normally, I would have thought that they would have ditched it after 1 month or 3 months. Yeah. But they're now being mandated to have a whole year's history on there, and there's going to, when we all wake up from Brexit, and this actually becomes law, there is going to be a riot.
That's kind of crazy, Stephen.
I
didn't realize that was what was going on over there. And well, I did actually read an article the other day, but what I was seeing was the fact that there were people recommending the VPNs, of course, which are virtual private networks that you can create, which basically masks your IP address so that they can't locate the point of origin of where you're broadcasting from. The other thing that people were mentioning also was the use of specific types of browser software, which there are several out there that allow for much higher levels of security than what you would find on Chrome or Internet Explorer or even Firefox. And you can also use the what you might call masked versions of both Chrome and Firefox. If you're not familiar with the fact that if you normally use in Chrome, Shift-Control-N will put you into a mode that is basically hidden from most of the peeping eyes out there on the internet, but it doesn't say, that's not to say that your internet provider still doesn't have access to where you've been. It just controls your browsing record so that it's not shown in your browser.
But if you do that, then you're losing access to, if you're using something like LastPass for your passwords, then to log in and out of sites, then you can't use it. So you can be anonymous, but you can't use it normally, is what I'm trying to say. But this is going to be low, and there's going to be eruptions about it. And if our government can do it,
won't take long.
No,
it really doesn't take long for things to go global one way or the other. So it's hard to say.
Okay,
well, that's interesting.
Right. And what's the story on your side of the pond this week?
Well, there's all kinds of things, actually. I was looking at my email today, and I came across a Google alert, which I get these quite often. So I'll just make a quick mention. I'm going to put myself down in the corner a little bit so I can open up a window here. I'm going to get rid of the other me. That's my mini me, by the way. I wanted to go over here because there was a warning similar to what you're speaking of here, Stephen, is the fact that Google is warning journalists, and I hope that's centered okay. I believe it is, that there is a very large cyber attack taking place right now, and it's basically Google is telling them that they really need to watch out for what's going on. And this was uncovered recently. It was actually uncovered about a month ago, and the reason they do this, they usually announce these warnings late, is so that those who are doing the hacking can't determine right away how those who discovered the hack are maintaining their procedure to find it. Okay, that's why you don't find, like, the first day that a hack is discovered, they go, oh, we found a hack, because if they do that, then the people who are initializing the hack are like, oh crap, we had a loophole here. They find it, they fix it, and that's why they kind of let it go for a little bit before they want to backtrack and follow the lead to know exactly where it's coming from first before they just go and announce it. So a lot of people were receiving these warnings recently that included Nobel Prize-winning economist and New York Times columnist Paul Krugman, Stanford University professor and former U.S. diplomat Michael McFaul, CQ correspondent Keith Olbermann, and according to the tweet, Politico Highlight, there was a lot of stuff going on where they were getting these red banners with large white text that says, Google may have detected government-backed attackers trying to steal your password. Okay, which was like, holy cow, what's going on here? Well, the warnings were supposedly, they've been sending these warnings out as nationally sponsored attacks since 2012, which is to basically say these are large organizations who are performing these attacks. These aren't just little run-of-the-mill hacker, it's more like the anonymous level attacker that's coming out here in full force. And what it was basically an email and breach that went through. It was sent to several high-end officials under, it was what they call a spear phishing campaign. And Velexity is the company that originally tied this to Russian government hackers, which means these are people being paid for by the Russian government to hack security systems or whatever types of corporate entities they want to get involved in. Well, basically it started popping up. These emails went out. They were purposefully built through Gmail accounts, and then they were dropped as what basically happened was a variant of backdoor variant called PowerDuke is what they called it, was dropped into place, and it was some pretty highly targeted malicious emails. So they've been warning now recently, this is just as of today's mail that I got this, that these people are under a serious attack when it comes to journalists and professors. So why or what they're looking for or what they're on the move at, who knows? It's just one of those things to keep in mind. So if you are a professor or a journalist, watch your emails for this. You might want to go take a look. I have a link here I'll give for Ars Technica or ARS Technica, and that way if you guys want to go follow up on that yourselves, you can find out more about it. So hopefully that will fit. No.
Okay. We're virtually under attack 24/7, aren't we? And now we've got these specific attacks. Websites have been taken down. We had the ones I told you about the other week, which were personal to myself and Angelica. And then last weekend, sites in Europe were taken down. And I just want to say thank you for bringing the sites back up, because I know how much work it entails. When your site goes down, you've got to restore it. It's a pain in the derriere, as they would say in France. For anybody who's watching us now and watching on my Facebook page, if you want to comment, then please go to Leland's Facebook page, where we can be able to see the comments live here, and we can bring those comments on and answer your questions on anything happening either side of the pond or any techie questions that you've got.
I'm curious, Stephen. I wanted to test something while we're here, because I was watching the show that you and David did yesterday. Alex Krugloff showed up on your show, and yeah. I heard David mentioned that you cannot see the Facebook comments from shared versions of the post, yet I recall the original post we did just that. I watched Facebook comments come through, and I went to follow up on them on the Facebook feed on Leland Best Live, and yet the people that were commenting in the show were not on my page. They were on your page. So okay. I would like to confirm real quickly, if you can share that.
Thank you, Raven and Phil, for watching on my page. If either of you are still there, you could just type in a comment. We'll like to see if we can see it.
Great.
This is a live text.
Stephen Healy. Stephen Healy is your page.
Yeah.
That should take me right. Oh, that's a different Stephen Healy. That's not you. That's a different Stephen. I'm gonna find it. I don't know this guy.
That's the URL.
All right, let's do this.
If you are on the page that Leland's going to go to now, could you just type in a comment?
Okay, Stephen J. Healy. You're like me.
I have to have the J. My mother gave me the J, so it's Stephen John.
Yeah.
And
that's how I have to do it too, because somebody already had Leland.best, so I had to take it. Right. All right, I'll do it myself. I'm just going to go ahead. I know Raven's here. Yep. Raven Glover, who is the wife of, that would be Kalik Glover, the Emmy Award-winning sound engineer who worked on We Are the World with Michael Jackson. So, Raven, thanks for coming by the show today. Let's just do a test. That's all I'm going to do is test. If anything shows up. Maybe not.
Okay.
That's interesting. Because I don't know how long it takes to react, Stephen. So.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Hello to Raven. Raven and I are going to be talking in about 40 minutes.
Okay, great.
Which would be interesting. I saw she was with Ross Brand last night, and a very enjoyable show.
And Ross is asking for our 2017 live video streaming predictions this year. Also, I just got a notice from him.
Yeah, he is. I haven't a clue of you. I'm going to pull something out of the air, because this year, I mean, if you'd asked us last year, we'd have all been on Blab now,
right?
And Blab was going to stay forever, according to some of the 2016 predictions.
That was kind of the way it went, wasn't it? Yeah, I would have to agree with you there. But I'll be honest, when it comes to my perception of this right now, I think what I'm going to look into, and let me just switch over here so I'm on screen. I think the live boost, or I should say the live fever that's going on right now, is going to curb. And people are going to realize that live does work for certain things, but not for everything. So it's just going to redirect. I think things are going to change in the landscape slightly. I don't think you're going to still see the marketers out here. Obviously, that's typical. You're going to see the family type guy just doing his thing, playing with his kid. Yeah. That's fun live video. That's the kind of, I love watching that kind of live video, honestly. Alex Krugloff had his daughter out here on Smile Time the other day. She started her own channel, and she was incredible. I mean, honestly, she was talking to her friends and her family as though they were right there with her. And I thought she did a wonderful job. She presented all kinds of photos and GIF images while she was on the screen. And I really would love to see people play with it more rather than make it so newsworthy and so trying to be like network television. I mean, I want to see people, like Alex says, let's make something different of live video. Let's see how far we can take it and make something new of it. Make it fresh, make it exciting. Don't make it all about, you know, doing a show every day or every month or every week or whatever. I mean, I don't deny the consistency, but I would really like to see in 2017 some creativity and some originality and some new things come out of the live streaming environment. That's my prediction.
Okay, that sounds fair. As I said, I haven't a clue at the moment. I'll pick one out that happened before December 9th. And what I've got to do is make the soundbite good. Okay, it doesn't matter what the soundbite's got to be good, the one that goes in the photo. Right, I just posted, but I posted on your page, and that's come up here.
Okay, so that does work, and that makes sense. So we'll just have to see. I don't know why I was getting some in the other show, and I think that's the problem. I wish that was recorded. I do wish at some point Smile Time would consider rolling the chat feed into the recording. I don't know if they can do that or not. That was one of the beauties of some of the ways we found it broadcast, and one of the awesome things that Huzza has available, so that we don't have here.
Well, it also has things that we have things here that Huzza doesn't. So.
That's right. We have us. We have us.
Indeed. That's
Steven,
true.
what else you got?
Right. Okay. My second story. I'm just going to scroll down. It's one that's going to hit us both sides of the Atlantic. If you bring up the story, one of the biggest gifts this Christmas, because they're only around about between $80 and $100 each, is drones.
That's right.
And there is no low. Well, right. Okay. If you buy a drone, you take it out of the box, you power it up, and you go outside, you can fly it. Now, there are guidelines as to what you can and can't do, but they're not written in stone. What's the situation in the States?
You know, I don't know the laws. I know there's certain elevations you can't exceed, but I'm not sure I think it's like 10,000 feet. If you go any higher than 10,000 feet, you're asking for trouble. And it might not even be that high now, but I'm sure that's constantly changing when it comes to FAA regulations. It's going to have to, because with some of the people in the U.S. even threaten to shoot them out of the sky. So what do you?
Skeet shooting.
Could be one of the bunch of rednecks over here in the States, Stephen.
Well, I mean, there are two sides to this. One side is the buying the drone for the children for Christmas, and obviously that can't be regulated. They're going to go out and going to play with them, and people have got to accept that. But if you're using a drone professionally, then there is a qualification in the UK you've got to have, and that says you cannot fly over private properties below such a height. You cannot film X, Y, Z. You cannot go in restricted spaces. So there is, for professional use, there's a qualification you've got to have before you can send out and do aerial photography. Because we've got a guy here who does aerial photography of devices and surrounds, and he's fully licensed for it. But it is going to be a problem.
Yep, and that is what they specify here on the page. They mention not to fly near airports or airfields. Remember to stay below 400 feet here at least. Now, I know I've seen drones flying at higher than 400 feet in the past, although that's going to require some pretty heavy-duty technical equipment, because once you break that barrier of 400 feet, your signal is going to get lost. You're going to have to be dealing with some high-tech signaling. So observe your drone at all times, never fly near aircraft, and enjoy responsibly. When I said 10,000 feet, Stephen, I have no clue how high these things can fly. I don't use one. You want to see the drone I have? Here, I have a drone.
Okay.
Yeah, I do. I have it. Well, yes, I have a drone. I will show you my drone. This is my drone. It's right here. I received this as a gift as an affiliate marketer. The affiliate team sent it over to me one day, and this is my controller. It's green, so you I'm sorry, you're seeing the green knobs are turning to nothingness there. And this, my friend, is my drone. Is that huge or what? That's a monster drone right there, I'll tell you.
Can you come back on screen, then we can actually see it, because at the moment.
Oh, did you miss it? Okay, I see that where the problem is here.
Yeah.
Okay, this is my drone.
Right, okay. Yeah.
And this is the controller that controls the drone. So as you can see, it's about room size. This is the kind of thing that you drive your dog batty with. You just kind of send it around the room and the dog chases it all over the place, tries to catch it. But that's about it.
We've got local shops who make a living selling them. So, you know.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. I would love to have one.
Well, yeah, and the time to use it as well.
Yeah,
but
that's true. I think that's what I lack. I don't think I ever have the time to use it. Okay, well, I do have a couple other things here, Stephen.
Okay.
See what the other, oops, let me dismiss my little warnings that just came up. Other than that, what we did discover recently is, we have these new devices coming out. We have Amazon Echo, okay? We have, I just changed over to another page. We have Amazon Echo. We have Google Home, which I've been seeing Google Home seems to be quite lax in comparison to the Amazon Echo. It doesn't have all the features that the Amazon Echo has. But what I've been seeing recently is that with the advent of these things, or advent of these things, and I'm going to disappear out of the screen here down to the corner again, that voice search has become tremendously huge. In the last couple of years, voice search on its own has, I believe, nearly, I think, quadrupled, just in the fact that that's what is the way that people use. People get on their phones and they say, tell me how to get here, show me where to buy this, tell me where I can find that. And it seems to be the going norm nowadays that most searches are actually performed on voice than they are on text. So what does that mean for the search engine results? Okay, normally when we ask for something, we see a large list of results that come through in text format. Okay.
Yep.
Now what's going to happen when we turn over to voice-based search? We're certainly not going to be able to get the list of responses that we would get when we type a text search in the field. We're only going to be able to receive via audio a certain slice of that. So what does that mean to the monetization end and the advertisers who are paying large amounts of money to Google to be discovered in their programs, whether it's in Google search or through Google AdWords or through Google AdSense or whatever it may be? This is one of those situations that we have to look forward to in the future, is what are they going to do, and is that slice going to be big enough to generate revenue through voice assistance, where if I ask for something, who is going to be that person that's going to show up in my research result when I ask for help? So it's a new frontier for a lot of people that they're looking into, and it is something we should consider a lot of in the future, is what would we need to be a part of that verbal search engine that's out there now, because that is where everybody's looking for their information.
Yep, things are changing, and obviously there's a lot of catching up to do for the search engines. And basically, I mean, being first on the first page of Google is the aim for most businesses, isn't it? That's why.
Well, yeah, and that's what everybody works toward. I mean, I do that daily, and I have a lot of things on the front page of Google, but it's the fact that how would my search show up if somebody asked for it on the phone? Is it going to, if I'm in 4th place on Google's front page, now suddenly I've disappeared. I no longer exist, because only 1, 2, or maybe 3 tops are going to be returned to the user using voice search. So something that is, I haven't dug into this deep enough today. Again, these are some of the items that came up in my Google notifications today, my Google alerts. And I like to bring these up when they're on the forefront so that I can make people think about them and go, wow, maybe that's something we should look into. I don't want to give you answers for all this stuff. I want to tweak people's interest and say, maybe it's something we should take a look at and dig a little deeper. So that's one to think about.
Indeed. And
And you have another.
I've got my final one for today. Right, okay. We've never had what can best be described as a level playing field in the UK.
Okay.
BT stands for British Telecom, and they had a monopoly on provision of telephone lines throughout the UK.
Oh.
Okay. Now, they were publicly owned and privately owned, and the situation then was who would have control of the broadband structure.
Oh, okay.
Should they have control of it, and should they then lease it out to other telcos? Yeah, they control everything. So what should happen next? So they set up a new company called OpenReach. And OpenReach is responsible for providing the internet access along the cable to all the other providers in the UK. Think Virgin, and there are about 20 of the different, well, thousands of other providers, but Virgin are one of the main ones. So BT provide the service to Virgin, but they do it through OpenReach. Yeah, and OpenReach have got to give the same prices to Virgin as they do to BT. Yeah, but
makes sense.
Who controls the profits that they make? And the point here is the government has said that BT are OpenReach is making too much profit. It's being run by BT management, although it's working as a separate company. It's got a corporate structure which brings everybody together. This is totally against any practice, only fair practice. So our government have said that OpenReach must become a separate company, not owned by British Telecom. Yep.
Gotcha.
Which makes it a level playing field for everybody. Now, the irony of ironies is that there will then be an appeal, and that's what's going to help them out. Guess where the appeal goes to? The appeal goes to the EU, and that's why Brussels is mentioned in the headline. We are still members of the EU, and Brussels will decide whether the two should split.
Wow.
Who could make it up? Who could make it up?
So it sounds like there's really not going to be a split in the end. It'll stay as a conglomerate in one form or another, or do you forecast any type of thing that might happen out of that?
Equity would say that OpenReach becomes a separate company outside the control of BT. All the other telcos would say, yes, that's the way to go. Common sense says that's the way to go. Mrs. May, our Prime Minister, says that's the way to go.
For sure.
What happens in Brussels, we've no control over.
Yeah, and that's kind of similar to what's taking place in the U.S. right now. Charter Spectrum is who we get our service from. Just put a bid on Time Warner Cable, which is a tremendous $60 billion bid, I believe it was. I could find out real quick. I'll just check for that. Charter to buy. I love searching sometimes on the fly just to see what's going on. Charter to buy Time Warner. So bye Time Warner Cable. Hello Charter. It says May 18, 2016, and they may totally control it by now. But and this is an older article, so I find it kind of interesting that I haven't heard about this sooner, because they are supposed to give us access to all the Time Warner feeds through Charter when that's available. But we have not received those yet. So they call the service Spectrum for the TV and broadband. And then Time Warner has always been, they've taken over several different channels on the cable networks. Oops, I don't want to get that. I got my advertising windows popping up. So it was going to require, the regulatory approval, I guess. So that being another one of those conglomerates in the making that were taking place here in the U.S. earlier this year. I guess they want it in the markets like LA and New York, supposedly as fans. As to whether or not we've seen an impact here yet, no, because I know Time Warner has much higher end equipment than Charter does in some of the fields in the larger cities. And I know Charter is working up to the gigabit network that's available in your area is going to be looking forward to that soon also, which is going to bring forth some. Well, the thing that gigabit internet that a lot of people might not realize that it's going to bring to light is the accessibility of mostly this IP access to streaming that we see so much about. We hear all this talk about NDI, or network device interfacing, which allows you to simply plug a device in through a network cable somewhere halfway around the world or around the country, and you can access that device through an IP address. So that if you had a really fancy camera over there, Stephen, you could plug it in
Yeah.
And I could access it through my software over here and say, hey, look what's going on in Steven's front room. And I could actually share your video, whether you were there or not, through this type of connection. But I do need the speed in order to pull it off. So that's where gigabit network is coming through. You'll need new cables. You'll need some new hardware because the old Cat5 cables don't function on the gigabit network. You would need either a Cat5e or a Cat6 cable to work with the new internet service. So looking forward to that coming to our area. We're out in the rural area. You're somewhat rural yourself, so we probably won't see these things right away.
I mean, I'm in a town, but we could do with faster. We have price bands, so you can pay a higher price band and get a faster internet. So, but it's a question whether it's worth it. I'm quite happy with this. Now, I have a question which puzzles me and must puzzle a lot of Brits, and it is about the election, unfortunately. Your election.
Go ahead. No, that's fine.
How can the situation be, as we understand it over here, Cincinnati, correct, or Wisconsin, one of the two or both, they're going to recount the votes?
Well, that's I don't know that that's ever really going to make a true effort. What ended up happening, for instance, here in Michigan, just as of yesterday, the final tally for the voter count just went through, and I have that over on my page actually on Facebook. I'll just bring this up so you can see how this actually works. The way that we do things here, why I'm not seeing the rest of my Facebook feed today is questionable, but okay. A lot of things going on. Oh, another one I wanted to bring up too is Standing Rock here before the end of the show, which is taking place. We're in North Dakota. Just take a second here, Stephen. I thought I had a quick link to it. The votes were tallied anyway. Oh, I just saw it. I rolled right past it. Okay. Let me kind of share this so you get a little better understanding of how this works over here, because it is a little odd. Michigan in particular is kind of a leader when it comes to this, so I'm going to just disappear for a second. The 2016 presidential election results just became made available to us as, and I'm going to move this window just slightly, Stephen, so you can see this. And I probably can't zoom in that well on it, but basically what they do, they asked about Michigan's process for counting the ballots and certifying election results. That they weren't necessarily aware, but they needed to be, that out of the 1,521 Michigan cities and townships that completed ballot counting and reported unofficial results by the morning of Wednesday, November 9th, the county canvassing boards, as they do every election, then begin their work to review and certify the results from each precinct. The detailed county canvassing process ensures that Michigan residents can have full confidence in the accuracy and integrity of the results. Now, what we see on TV all the time through the national election process is media channels trying to forecast the results ahead of time. They think that on November 9th that they're going to be able to determine who made the presidency and who didn't. Yet at that time, the votes aren't even all counted. They're simply going on percentages of votes tallied. So they tend to, and it has, I believe it's happened once in this nation's history where the tab was not correct, and I cannot, or the forecast was not correct, but that was before major network television channels and things like that were ever even involved in that process. So when we look at what really took place, Donald Trump, and I'll move over just to the side so you can see that slightly. Let me go back to my other face here. Let me go back to my mini-me. Donald Trump in Michigan received 2,279,543 votes. Hillary Clinton, 2,268,000. So Trump won by just over 10,000 votes here in Michigan. Now, that was not what we were seeing up until the final election results. It seemed to be a little larger spread. And obviously, there's concern that Hillary won the popular vote, which was by more than almost 2 million votes. But because of our electoral college and the fact that certain cities control the population size of our country, and that in order to include the rural voters, we have to give these electorals to each state based on their population size. So with that being said, the population generates the vote, and then they're tallied, and then whoever takes those electorals wins. Now, it seems they want to go back and try to count over these votes in states that could have possibly swayed the election. It's a typical give me another chance tactic is what it sounds like to me. let me see if we may have really won this thing. And yet, when you look at the numbers and you go back over what's been going on, you can tally it up all you want. I think it would be a detriment to many of the ways that have been exposed that the DNC has taken in the past to manipulate votes. We've had people voting who no longer live. We have people with Social Security numbers who have expired for decades voting. You know, there's so much that goes on that people either don't want to admit or just want to overlook and not accept that it is true. So would a recount really work?
No, well, no, because, well, I don't know. I mean, it's just, thank you for explaining. Mm-hmm. And to your final point.
You know, I don't know. Let me go check. I'm going to go dig one up. How about this? Oh, you know what? I'm going to go a little off kilter. We have a few days or a few minutes left, so I'm going to make it quick. One of my favorite websites, and if any of you out there who are somewhat of the ilks of Stephen and I, we both do market ourselves on the internet through live streaming. We do this in some way or another to earn an income. And thanks to the annual Black Friday principle, one of my favorite sites known as Wealthy Affiliate, which has been around since 2005, it's a community. And as you can see, the site is laid out similar to almost a Facebook site. There's thousands and thousands of users out here at Wealthy Affiliate. And once a year, they offer a special that's available for almost 50% off what they normally charge. And this is that week. They extended it till today for half off their normal rate, which is $300 for the year. You have access to once a week live training. You have access to tens of thousands of posts of people who do internet marketing. And I don't mean network marketing. I mean not like MLM structured items. This is about taking something that you truly believe in, your passion, and building on that passion by either creating a website to delve into what it is you like to do and get your presence known, get your message out to people, and then monetize that through social media channels or whatever it is you might want to do. So if you really want to learn how to do that, you can build sites over here for free. Okay. Once you pay for that process, and you can even get in on a monthly basis. The normal price would have been $47 a month to do this, but this basically breaks it down to less than $20 a month. So I have a link that I'll be sharing at the end of the show here, which will be a bit.ly link that'll get you over to see this. It is, like I said, it's quite a special. It's only offered once a year. Their annual price will be $2.99 right now, which is like, if I move my head out of the way, that's like 82 cents a day to learn how to truly market on the internet, whatever business it is you might want to do. You have to have a website. You have to have a home to run that business from if you're on the internet. So this helps you learn how to do that. And the guys, Carson and Kyle, who are over there, they've been doing this for over 10 years now. They're really reputable. I shouldn't say reputable. They're very well-renowned individuals in the internet marketing community, and they are loved by the people who follow them. And Jay is one of the other guys who comes out every Friday, gets live with the people who are doing the same thing that he's doing, and walks them through step by step. There's no pitch, no fuss. It's not about selling you any other products. It's about teaching you how to sell your own products or your own service through internet marketing. So I'll leave that link here today, and that's all I got.
All right. Well, we got there in the end. I mean, it's good.
We had a little lag there at the beginning.
yeah, it's good to know.
We were a little slow to start, and that link is right here. What we should probably do, Stephen, in the future for any of the links that we do provide on the show, we should probably run a feed, one comment at the end of the live stream to show people what it was we were talking about.
That's a good idea.
Maybe that'll make it easier for people to follow up on those things that we're looking to do. So basically the link is going to be a bit.ly, and it's going to be WA-Black-Friday. And that will get you over to that page to get that deal. And I think that deal is going to end tonight. I got back in. I was a longstanding member, and I let my membership lapse in August because I had a lot of other things going on, and I totally forgot about their Black Friday sale coming up, which was a good thing. Because, again, a lot of people, that's normally when they reboot their setup. They come back in on Black Friday, they get it at the discounted price so that they're never paying full price, because they offer this every year. All right. Well, that's all I got, Stephen.
Brilliant. Thank you to everybody who's watched us today. because you did the intro, I'll do the outro. And Leland, let's have a good week, and we'll get together next Tuesday, same time.
Yep, and leave a link for your book down in the chat there, Stephen, so that people can find you on Amazon for your live streaming manual. It tells you all about it, shows you how to do it.
Right.
Steve,
okay. Take my leave now, and I'll see you live on my page in a minute. Cheers, Leland. I'll see you later.
Oh, you've got another show. I'm sorry, Stephen. I didn't mean to hold you up. You have a great day and have a good afternoon.
We're all good. We're all good. I'll see you later. Bye.
All right. Take care, Stephen. See ya. All right. And this was Stephen Healy and Leland Best, and across the pond, coming from both sides, the UK and the US, bringing you the highlights and the current events that are taking place in the world today. We'll see you in the next show, Tuesday, 12 p.m. Eastern.